This is a Fox News alert. Here's the
A
president.
short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Join me here at Courageous Media. Obviously, we have breaking news. Donald Trump had ordered and has now successfully completed airstrikes and missile strikes against targets in Iran, specifically Fordow, Esfahan, and other targets. Now, this was carried out not only by B-2 bombers, but also by cruise missiles. We've got word on that. So we got this whole story. So we're going to dive right into this. You heard the president's comments. So we were able to take out 3 nuclear sites: Fordow, Arak, and Esfahan. And this is extremely important. It's not necessarily what I wanted to see. I think I would have much rather, this go a different direction and Trump be able to essentially walk into Tehran like he did into North Korea in his first term, and we go into some level of real negotiation. But that was not going to happen with this regime. That was not going to happen with what's going on in Iran. So unfortunately, this is where we're at. So this is what we got. Let me pull up Trump's tweet just so we can all see it. This is his True Social that he sent out right after the strikes were completed. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for attention. So hopefully we will see the Iranians do something actually smart and come to the table. Come to the table now. All right. Trump has clearly demonstrated that he is not afraid to act. Now, unlike all of the panicans and the isolationists who are now wringing their hands, clutching their pearls, talking about forever wars, this is nothing of the kind. We're going to talk about that later in the show. But this is what the strikes look like, just so everybody has a good, clear picture of what we did today. So this is what the strikes look like. 30 Tomahawk missiles hit Natanz and Isfahan, and 6, which means we needed 3 B-2 bombers carrying 2 each GBU-57 bunker busters for Fordow. This is huge. This is amazing. So here we have some actual footage of Fordow. We got more footage too coming up. That's amazing. All right, so we got some more footage on the Fordow strike. Massive. The shockwave from that, and here's the aftermath. Here's the aftermath of the strike here. Let's pull this up. So here we have the aftermath. Remember, Fordow is right outside of Tehran, buried under a mountain, but it's on the outskirts of Tehran. So based on what we see in this footage, it looks like Trump, and I don't think Trump would have announced this without getting confirmation from the U.S. military in terms of their immediate intel after action, that Fordow, Isfahan, and Natanz are all completely destroyed, gone. and with it, essentially Iran's nuclear program. Their centrifuges are gone. I don't know if we were able to destroy the enriched uranium that they already had. That's a question that needs to be answered. And so Donald Trump has successfully concluded a simple airstrike. Not quite simple, but simple in terms of it is not a forever war. Now, the reactions are already coming in fast and furious. So here we got Fetterman, clearly the voice of reason within the Democrat Party, and even some of the own isolationists in our own party. But as I've long maintained, this was the correct move by POTUS. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, cannot have nuclear weapons. I am grateful for and salute the finest military in the world. So a little bit of class by Senator Fetterman. I'll give him kudos. I'll give him credit where credit is due. He's a nutcase on half the issues, but on this, he has been, whether you agree with him or not, he has been the voice of reason. He has never failed to congratulate and uphold our military. He was the one who stepped in when Trump had the parade for the 250th anniversary of the Army, the birthday, and Trump had a military parade and the left went apoplectic. It was Fetterman who stepped in and said, oh, you got to be kidding me. We should be celebrating the Army. We should be celebrating our men in uniform. So shout out to him. Also from Matt Gaetz. So here's Matt Gaetz's comment. Basically, Trump wants this to be like the Soleimani strike. One and done. No regime change war. Trump, the peacemaker. Absolutely. That's why he says now is the time for peace. This is not about some protracted nonsense, nation building regime change war. This is about what it was, a precision military strike. The only hope for this world is Christ. In the meantime, the only thing that the state can do is, as much as is possible, prosecute evil and promote good. In this particular case, this is not the outcome I wanted. I did not want to see U.S. airstrikes on Iran. I would have much rather seen the U.S. sell the GBU-57s to the Israelis, along with a delivery mechanism that they could use, whether they dropped them out of a C-130 or hell, go sell them a B-52 for all I care. But I would much rather have seen them sell the weaponry to Israel and Israel do this, and the U.S. maintain an arm's length relationship to this transaction. But I don't know what intel President Trump has, and I don't know if that could have been effectuated fast enough. I don't know. And maybe the B-2 is the only airframe we have that can actually carry the GBU-57. I have not heard of a B-1 or a B-52 actually carrying this weapon. Everything in the news up until now has been it is only the B-2, and we're not selling B-2s to anybody. So I understand if it had to be a B-2, that it had to be a U.S. airstrike. This is not the outcome I wanted. I would have much rather maintained, like I said, an arm's length transaction at this. I would have much rather Iran simply come to the table and said, all right, we're willing to give up our nuclear ambitions. That would have been much easier. But here's where we are now. And I'm glad that this is a single precision military strike. Now, Trump did say in his address to the country that this is now the time for Iran to come to the table. If they don't, there are many other targets. I hope that is blustering. I hope that is, essentially Trump being bellicose in order to try to goad Iran into the table. Because I don't want to see any more. I don't want to see a campaign. I don't want to see, constant airstrikes. I don't want to see that at all. One and done. If we've destroyed their nuclear program, let's be out. This is my admonition, my encouragement to Trump. Not a single boot on the ground. Not one. Now, obviously, the CIA is probably already there. They don't count. Not a single military boot on the ground. Let's hope it goes with that. Now, the reactions were coming fast and furious. So here we got, we'll pull up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sandy Ocasio, good old Sandy. The president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers. Not really. He has impulsively risked launching a war that may ensnare us for generations. Oh, please, give me a break. If you think that this is a violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers, then every single strike in Syria against the Houthis, every strike that Bush did, Bush actually embroiled us in a gigantic war. Two of them, Afghan and Iraq. The first Bush, Obama, Clinton. We had boots on the ground all over the place. So if none of those were violations of the War Powers Act, neither is this. This is simply a strategic military strike, airstrike. Now, Representative Margie Green wasted no time. Shut up, you pathetic little hypocrite. Gotta love MTG. You fully supported our military and intelligence community running their proxy war against Russia in the Ukraine. You voted to fund the Ukraine war under your president with dementia. You don't get to play anti-war morale outrage anymore. Absolutely. 100% true from MTG. And now, obviously, we will dive in. Candace was quick to jump in. Unfortunately, a full payload of bombs was dropped, followed by "Now is the time for peace." Now, this is where it really makes me scratch my head with Candace. Like, utterly deranged. What are you talking about? This is absolutely the time for peace. Sometimes you have to show strength in order to get people to the table. If they don't think you're willing to act, then they're not going to come to the table. Well, we have now demonstrated that we are not only capable, but also willing to act. And if there is no more nuclear program to argue over, now might just be the time for peace, especially when Trump is offering a lot of money and a path for the current regime in Iran to get wealthy. But let's see what happens. I very, very much hope that we can basically de-escalate this now. And if nothing else, let Israel do what they're going to do, but no more involvement from the U.S., I hope. Now, Sean, coming after Candace's little diatribe there, I wanted to show this from Sean Farash, which is, I believe, absolutely spot on. Check this out. Donald Trump is not George Bush. He's not George H.W. Bush, and he's not George W. Bush. And he's not Biden, and he's not Obama. Okay? Even as we have now struck Iran's Fordo Enrichment Center, he's not George Bush. This was an airstrike. We have seen his body of work and his reluctance to get us involved in foreign entanglements. It's why we voted for him. Candace, this is why we voted for him. Imagine if you had Kamala in office. He deserves the benefit of the doubt. The Panicans are embarrassing themselves every day. Exactly. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see if Iran comes to the table. Let's wait and see if we have truly destroyed their nuclear capability, then we can walk away. Nothing has happened in terms of any type of forever war, regime change war, nation building war. There is not a single army or Marine on the ground in Iran. Now, it needs to stay that way. So my thoughts on this, again, I don't have the intel. I wanted this to go a different way, but I do not have the intel that President Trump has. I do not have the eyes in Iran that he does via the US CIA, the DIA, the Mossad, all of the above. I don't know where they were with their nuclear program. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes in terms of any conversations or negotiations or communications with Iran or the Iranian regime. So again, not having that intel, I have to trust that my vote was correct with Trump. Trump is the only non-neocon, non-deep state, non-ridiculous establishment president that we could have elected. And he's the best one. So let's give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt and absolutely trust and see where this goes. The Panicans need to shut the hell up, frankly. But I also wanted to bring this to your attention as well. Now, we did this in a previous video yesterday, the day before. So check this out, because I have talked about this ad nauseum. You've got, people talking about this being unconstitutional. Thomas Massey said this was unconstitutional, which I think is a very bad look for him. But again, and the oh my gosh, we're going to war drumbeat that is now resounding from the isolationist wing of the party and from the conveniently now anti-war Democrats, which they never are. So screw them. They have absolutely no credibility. But anyway, from the isolationist wing of our own party, where was this same drumbeat for the last month when we've been bombing the crap out of the Houthis? Okay? We've been engaged in a month-long series of airstrikes against the Houthis. And nobody said a thing beyond the signal gate nonsense that surrounded it. Nobody cared that we were dropping bunker busters and other things on the Houthis. And oh, by the way, their attacks on shipping have stopped. And we killed 700 Houthis in Yemen, a sovereign nation. We bombed a terrorist group on sovereign soil and nobody said a word. Nobody cared. Suddenly it's Iran and everybody cares. Why? Because Israel's involved? That's the only change I can see. The U.S. basically acted alone against the Houthis. But Israel was acting too. Like, they did it later. I think we were first. But nobody said a word. All of a sudden, we attack Iran after Israel does, and the left and the isolationists, the panicans in our own party go apoplectic. Here's my piece of advice. Take a Valium, have a drink, sit down, have a glass of wine and some cheese, and see where this goes. Jump down off the cliff, off the parapet. There's no reason to go, jumping, terminating, yourself over this nonsense. Don't do it. Just everybody sit down, take a load off, take a deep breath, and let's see where this goes. Again, I would have preferred this didn't happen, but if Iran was close to a nuclear weapon based on the intel, then I fully support it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Not now, not in their current state. And if Israel continues to bomb Iran, if they fly jets over Iran every day for the next, several weeks, and it emboldens the populace of Iran, the 80% supposedly that want the supreme leader, Khamenei, and the current regime out, then let them rise up and do something about it. Because that's the best thing that can happen in Iran is 100% grassroots, domestically born regime change with no outside interference. So let's see what happens. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks for being here. Please let us know how we're doing in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share the Courageous Media with everybody that you know. So we are to listen to the panicans. We're at war with Iran. When in fact, what we did was we dropped about 36 pieces of munition on key strategic targets that Trump has long since said he was never going to let them get a nuclear weapon. And so that's where we're at. The planes have gone home. There's no other fighting currently. Let's see what happens. Let's take a moderate approach to this. Let's wake up tomorrow, go to church, pray for world peace, pray that the regime comes to its senses, or pray that the Iranian people rise up and topple it in favor of a more democratic solution. Let's see what happens. But let's not be panicans, and let's not rejoice over this either. I'm not rejoicing over these airstrikes. I'm rejoicing that not a single U.S. life was lost at this point. All the planes have returned safely. There's no issues there. So let's pray. Let's see what happens. And let's hope this is the one and done. As Matt Gaetz said, let's make it Soleimani, one and done and we're out. Let's hope that happens. Thanks, everybody, for rolling up. Thanks again so much for being here. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Remember, God is good and he is sovereign. In the midst of all this, he is still there. Till I catch you next time.